Welcome to online lectures by CA Studies. For more lectures online, please do visit castudies.lk.
Seasonal variations, they say it's the difference between the actual and trend figures. To calculate this, there are two models, additive and multiplicative. Additive model issues the formula time series equals trend plus seasonal variation, whereas multiplicative time series equals trend multiplied by seasonal variation. So these two must be memorized by you all. In the exam, they will not ask to calculate this, but they will definitely ask to analyze and write the meaning of the data using these models. Then you should be able to say that perfectly, and you could say that only if you know how to calculate it. So for that reason, I'll be showing how it's done. Alright. So we know, so basically the formulas have been given. Let's work out an example. Okay. Output at a factory appears to vary with the day of the week because as you could see, they have given Monday to Friday and they have given different weeks. And the output over the last 3 weeks they have given as follows. They ask us to find the trend and the seasonal variation for the factory using the data provided. Alright. So first of all, when in a seasonal variation under the additive model, we have a particular format to follow, which is this particular format, where this part is fixed, but these two, it depends on the question. So, basically these two will be the time related facts and this will be the actual data given, which is in this case the output of a factory. The moving total of the 5 days, since they have given 5 days, we have to take the total of 5 days and the average of 5 days. And then calculate the seasonal component. Now, one key thing to remember is that trend, this column, is highly connected to the moving average that we just learned. So the trend here is the trend that we have to insert to this particular column. So this is basically the moving average. Okay. So you basically can do the moving average calculation to get T here. Whereas then apply it to find the seasonal component. Okay. So remember, moving averages are linked to seasonal variation additive model. Okay, remember that. Now let's calculate the moving average as we did previously. Now we have to calculate for 5 days. Our first question should be, is 5 days an odd or even number? Because there are two different methods to follow if it's an odd or even. So we need to know what it is. 5 cannot be divided by 2, therefore it is an odd number. Now in odd numbers, we only have, what's the format? Only up to here. Get the moving average. Again, no need to take the midpoint or whatever. So, easy. And another thing we must bear in mind is that the moving total must be placed right next to the middle value of the data set. So the middle value of 5 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the third value because there are two values on the right and two values on the left equally. Hence, the middle value should be 3. Okay. So there is 5 data here. So this should be the middle value. So let's take the total of it. 460 over here. Then from here to here. So it should be, I'm gonna pull the formula. Take this set of 5 figures. Then this set of 5 figures. This set of, so it has to go from each line to line. Okay, we should not miss a row. So next should be starting from 62 to ending after 5 numbers, which should be 125. And then start from 82 to 5 numbers. And so forth, and after that I will adjust the formulas accordingly. So this is 82 to there, and this is 110 to 5 numbers. This is 97 to another 5 numbers. This is 125 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Then this should be from 64 to 130, another 5 numbers. This should be from 84 to 66. This should, okay. So now see, this cannot be taken up to 5 numbers because of lack of data. Because of that, we need to delete these two off and stop from Wednesday in week 3. Okay. That thing you must remember, because as we go row by row, selecting all the numbers, basically taking all the numbers into consideration, we can't have a total for less than 5 numbers. Okay. Then get your average. Next to it, divide by the number of items of the total, which is 5 items. Okay, so put them next to this. Okay, now see the formula for seasonal component. Y is the actual. What is T? T is the moving average, which is the trend. Now trend doesn't have to be moving average only, it can be line of best fit, or it could be linear regression. Okay, that means the value may be identified through one of these methods, but mostly it will be via moving average. Calculating the seasonal component, there's a small formula error here. Actually, it should be y minus t. Okay, where you minus the actual and the trend. Alright. In doing that, you will then therefore minus 94 with the trend next to it, which is 92. And you continue that for all the types. There could be negative figures, no problem. There is a thing on negative figures which I will let you all know. Okay. Now step 2 is we have to build a summary of the seasonal components and get obtain the average. Okay, obtain the average for each day or series. Okay, so what you do is type week 1, week 1 to week 3, and then get Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday up to Friday. That's what's given in the question. So do the same. Now get the figures here to here. So week 1 Monday was 0. Tuesday it was 0. Wednesday we had 2. Okay. Thursday we have 27.6 and Friday we have minus 31.6. Okay. Then week 2 Monday we got minus 12.2. Tuesday we got 14.8. Wednesday we got 1.4. Thursday 29 and Friday minus 33.2. Again week 3 Monday minus 13.8. Tuesday 17.2. Wednesday plus 0.8. But Thursday and Friday we got 0. Now these zeros highlight the importance of you placing the value right next to the middle value of your data set, isn't it? Because if you place 489 somewhere here, then you will say that Friday is 0 or only Friday is 0 and Thursday has a number 496, but it is incorrect because you place the data in the wrong cell. So it's very important for you to place the data right next to the middle value of your selected data set. We have understood how to calculate middle values, but you don't have to go to complex situations. Just by common sense you can figure out how we can calculate the middle value. Okay, once we got this summary, we have to calculate the average for each day. Average happens when you get the sum of all three and then divide by 3. And then divide by the number of and then divide by the number of items. Now even though there are 3 weeks, week 1 doesn't have a value. So we have to only divide by the number of items that have a value. So there are only 2 items that have values. So we will divide it by 2. Okay. And then same for Tuesday. Divide by 2. But Wednesday we have to divide by 3 because 3 items have values. But Thursday we have to divide by 2. Friday same. Divide by 2. Okay. So the plus and the minus doesn't matter. What matters is the average. Once we've done the average, we have to get something called the estimated and final average. For that, again, we get the data, the days over here, and we write the estimated daily variation Same thing, the results in step 2 will be the starting point of step 3, which is named as estimated average or variation. And then we take the total. And then we take the total. So now the total here is 0.3. Now we have to see how to bring the total to 0. Okay, that is the step we need to do to get our final average. In doing this to 0, the difference is 0.3, isn't it? Now if the total should reduce to 0, it should be minus 0.3, no? Isn't it? Then only 0 plus 0.3 minus 0.3 will give the answer 0. Okay, so then this is the total. For total of 5 days, it should be minus 0.3. Then per day, if you divide by 5 days, you will get, it should deduct by 0.06. Now, this adjustment, you could see this formula over here. So that is the adjustment to bring to 0. So what is it? You must reduce your estimated variation by the amount minus 0.006. Fix. There you go. Spread. So the total of it naturally, well, is minus 0.3, and therefore your final estimate total will be 0. Okay. That is to remove any netted variances and stuff like that. Alright. So this is what you need or you will be given in your exam. Finally, there is another step 4, where you have to calculate the overall trend. Okay, calculate the overall trend. For this, you must take the trend in the starting day or week and compare it with the trend in the last day or last day. Okay, not week, basically day is not be confusing. Then take the difference, then divide the difference to get the trend. Divide the difference by the number of periods. Okay. So before I go, number of periods between the above trends. That means the high and low. Alright. So trend in the starting day as per this. Let's go. The starting day is Monday. Is there a trend? No. So we shouldn't take 0. We must ignore zeros and go for the first day that has a value. So in this case, it is Wednesday that has 92 as the trend, as the first day's trend. So 92 will be a first day's trend. Then trend in the last day is 99.2. Finishes with 99.2. The difference therefore is 7.2. Well, this minus and plus we can ignore. So it mainly, sorry, it has to be a positive figure, okay? Not has to, because now it doesn't matter the sign. It's minus 7.2, but basically it should be trend in the last day minus trend in the starting day, because the reason why we are trying to do this is because to find whether the trend increased or decreased. Alright. So it should basically be trend in the last day minus trend in the starting day. Because reason is to see whether the trend increased or decreased. So if you can check that only when the based on the last trend, if the last trend is 80, then that means from, and the starting trend is 90, then that means it has reduced by 10, isn't it? So then it should be a minus if it's reduced. But if it has increased from the last day onwards, then sorry, from the first day onwards to the last day, then it must be a positive difference. Therefore, your trend will be 7.2 divided by how many periods or how many days are passed between these two trends. Well, if you see, there are totally there are 10 periods. How you calculated that 10? From week 1's Wednesday to week 2's Tuesday. We don't take Wednesday. Alright? Because either we have to consider the last day, either we have to consider the first day. It's like calculating the 1 month thing. Okay? So, you ignore either the last cell or you ignore either the first cell. In that manner, we get only balance 10. So for 10, because wait, before I move on, the reason is this doesn't itself give an increase or decrease meaning. No. From here onwards only we know whether it increased or decreased when we compare to Wednesday 92. That's why we consider the day period where the change happened. Fine. So it is then basically 10 periods. Then 7.2 difference divided by 10 periods will give us a trend increase of 0.72 per day. Okay. So 0.72, I would say trend increase per day. This they might ask to calculate. They might give all of this set, everything they might calculate and ask you to calculate this bit, step 4, for you to analyze what is the trend increase per day. So be mindful of this calculation and be very clear, because it's super easy as well. Just take the last day's trend minus the first day's trend. That difference divide by the number of periods between the last days and the first day, and ignore one of the day between it, either the last or the first, so that you will get the exact number of periods where the trend changed. And make sure that this is mentioned, it is an increase, identify it, because in the exam they might give 0.72 as a decrease. Then don't go and tick it. Be very mindful if it's an increase or a decrease. Alright. So with that we finish seasonal variation for additive models. Next, let's calculate seasonal variations for multiplicative models.
Thank you for watching the video. Stay tuned with castudies.lk for more lectures online.